you guys are too young to make this type of film with that type of thing. How did it come about?
All right, I would say in order to make a good film, or at least a watchable film about a subject, I think you have to be kind of come from an outsider. I really mean this. Because as you're telling the story, you're learning about it. And so you position yourself to help teach people and also entertain them along the way. And I think we were lucky in the way that we didn't grow up with Dick Van Dyke, reruns, but we didn't grow up with it being live. We didn't grow up with Hollywood Squares. We didn't grow up, and I think it allowed us to kind of be able to teach and entertain at the same time about these subjects. And so that's, to us, is a blessing. That's why we like to make films that are very different from each other, because we don't live within one space kind of thing. So I think, we're too young to make this, I suppose, but if it's any good, that might be the reason that we came to it as outsiders.
We wanted her to be remembered, and, we didn't want her to be forgotten. So we didn't want to just make a film for an older generation that knew her. So, yeah, we had to explain who Jimmy Taranti was, or Phil Silvers. But we want younger people to actually remember, because history is important for younger people to know and understand. And, Rosemary broke barriers for women. She didn't know she was doing it at the time, but there was a woman who worked her butt off, who went up against mobsters to fight for jobs on stage and in television. And, we wanted somebody of any generation to be able to sit down and watch this film and enjoy it, not just kind of say, oh, look at this great little, piece of nostalgia.
How did you guys get through the challenge? I'm sure there were challenging pieces to put this together. I see him looking at that look. So how did you guys get through the challenges?
Well, with a film like this, you inevitably have problems with the licensing of material. She goes back to, the early 1920s. And when you were dealing with material going back that far with the major studios that have been sold to other studios, record labels have been sold, you come into a Byzantine labyrinth of how do we license this. And most of these songs and things are no longer, you can't even buy them. So when you try to license them, they go, wait, we own this? And you go, damn, I shouldn't have told them. So it's kind of like we ran into a huge problem with how do we have all the material. That's the other problem. She saved everything. So we weren't calling people and saying, can we get a copy of this? We were saying, how do we use this? And they're like, wait, you have a copy? Like, for instance, there's something from The Tonight Show in there that doesn't exist anywhere else because they had a fire in their vault early, and so we have the only copy. And so it's kind of a weird thing where you go, how do we deal with the licensing? So that, I would say it was a challenging thing to figure that out. But luckily, she brought a Super 8mm camera and rolled celluloid on rehearsals at the Dick Van Dyke Show. We have the only color footage of the Dick Van Dyke Show, of Gunsmoke, of the Bob Cummings Show, of all these things that are really Doris Day Show. That was in color, though, but we have color back for BTS. But so the point is, we have all this amazing stuff, so we were able to construct a narrative and not have to license a lot of stuff. Her music, obviously, and this and that, but in a film like this, and why the budgets are normally so big is because of licensing. We were able to, kind of reach a middle ground with that. But I think that was one of the big challenges, I think that
it's funny for me because all the films and people you named, I was alive. I saw them all. So I'm so happy for this film. Thank you guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's an honor.
Thank
Such an
you.
honor.